Hi everybody, I'm Michael. Welcome. Today we're going to be propagating the friendship plant. This super cute houseplant. We've done a video already on how to take care of her in your home, but today we wanted to share with you how easy it is to propagate this plant. We're going to be doing a rooted cutting propagation, but we'll be doing other videos because there's several ways to propagate this plant. So, y'all ready to dig in? Let's grow! Before we get into the propagation talk, I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed and all the likes and comments. We really appreciate it. I try to get back to as many people as possible. It means the world to us that you care about plants like we do, and I just wanted to say that. So before we go into the propagation talk, I just want to tell you a little bit about this plant. As I mentioned in the intro, we've already done a plant care video on the friendship plant, which I usually call the UFO plant, but many people call it the friendship plant. This is also called the Chinese money plant. It does have several common names associated with her. She's spectacular, as you can see, right? So cute and exotic. I don't even know cute is a word. It's just like spectacular comes to mind. Oh, I'm telling you. She goes by the botanical name Pilea peperomioides. Now that's not so easy to say, romioides. I swear, sometimes the botanists and the folks in charge of getting the Latin names down for us just want to challenge the LAs. They just want to challenge us, and plantophiles like you, they come up with the longest botanical names. Ay, ay, ay. So, the friendship plant here is very easy to propagate. And again, we have full care instructions video on this plant, so just refer to our channel. You can search under our channel under friendship plant. I think I call friendship and or UFO plant. So we have all the information there for plant care, but today we're just going to focus on propagating her. So propagating her via taking a rooted cutting from a rooted segment of her stem going into the soil. This plant grows by rhizomes underground and then pops up new little babies, and then they just form these really cool, fun, funky trunks, and they'll definitely cascade, which makes her such a cool plant to do in a hanging basket or a pedestal like we have. Just spectacular. So, before I even go into that, I'm just going to show you a plant that we've already done a rooted cutting many moons ago. This is this girl, and she's loving it and doing great. She's in my office, and I had to do a little stake thing for her because I wanted her to get a little bit taller, and then she's already got babies coming out over here, and I want her to stand on top and the other ones to grow and cascade over so it gets a more rounded look. Because that's what I've been trying to do here with the stakes on the mama here. But they're very easy to root, and we will be doing another video on the friendship plant, rooting them from the petiole. But today is just going to focus on a very straightforward part of taking a part of the stem out of the soil. Now, this plant sometimes gets confused with the raindrop peperomia. There's also the watermelon peperomia that we have here. They have a similar look. I mean, the watermelon peperomia pretty much tells you what she is. Look at that. Doesn't that look so cool? It looks just like a watermelon. Totally different genus and species. They grow very similar with these long petioles and these shield-like leaves, these saucer-like leaves. But, you know, just such a pretty plant. So I just wanted to touch base on that because there are some plants that look like this plant that are totally a different plant, and they're in the peperomia family. So, and now another caveat, because I'm so excited, we did a propagation video, and a lot of people have been asking for a propagation video, so that's why we're focusing on doing more of them for you. We love our lucky shamrock. Totally different plant, not part of this talk. That's these puppies over here and this one back here, if you can kind of see. And we did a propagation video for her, and look at her taking off. Maybe you could refer back, you'll see a propagation video we have on her. But she's only been in this for about a month, and she's flowering for us. You're just acting bananas. She's acting bananas. I never thought they would flower this soon. I thought they would start to fill out some more. But propagation is so much fun because you get to see, like, or you hope that they're going to take, sometimes these petioles don't root in the water. We use the water method for this one. But boy, when we got her in there, she started shooting out a lot of babies, but I never saw this coming, that she would start to flower so soon. So proud of her. And this one came from these mamas over here. So back to this propagation. Sorry about that, I can't help it, I just get carried away. And that's what I'm gonna do is a cutaway right now and show you where I went inside this plant and cut the root and the stem down in the soil. So one thing that's very important is always wash your hands with alcohol and your cutting shears. If you use a knife, I used my cutting shears to get in there and get the roots. You don't want to move pathogens into the plant. And if you are using some cutting shears and you get into the soil, when you're done with that and you need to trim any more of the plant or any of these petioles that broke, one of ours did break in this process, and she came right over in this area here. You want to spray it again with alcohol because you want to bring anything from the soil back onto the cutting shears and back into the plant. So what we'll do right now is we'll do a quick cutaway, and I'll walk you through the propagation on how we pulled her out from the mother plant.
Here you can see I have found the stem that I want to extract from the soil, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down and check the soil. Sorry about my giant Sasquatch size hands here. And I'm using the cutting shears to move a little bit of the soil away and find out exactly where the stem migrates under the soil, so I know a good place to cut. So it's usually going to be a few inches that you want it to grab so you can get some of these roots. And so what I'm doing here now is just finding those opportunities to cut where you can kind of feel where you see some of the roots tugging on the shears, so you can lean up against them and you'll feel them move underground, and then you can open up the shears and cut those roots free so you can separate the plant. I'm cutting away the roots one by one and feeling below the soil where another root is and clipping them free. And I'm almost done because the stem is starting to wiggle a lot, and I think I have just about one more to go, and voila, now we have our freed baby. Here I'm separating the other plant leaves from the baby that we've successfully cut free of the mother plant, and there we go. Let me get my beast arm out of the way, and you can see I have at the stem here, I damaged this petiole, so I'm going to go and clean my cutting shears with alcohol because you can see dirt on them. And once you do that, you can just, there you go, there's the alcohol. Spray your hands and your cutting shears again so you don't move any pathogens into the plant, and we'll just simply cut the petiole here. There we go. And now that we've done that, let's move that out of the way and come back here and show you this nice rooted cutting. There's our baby plant. You can see all the roots there are coming off of the plant. And now what we'll simply do is go and set up the table for putting her in her new growing medium.
All right, now that we have our baby friendship plant here, you're going to need to get a few more things to move her into her new home. You're going to need a container, an outer container, and an inner grow container. Our outer container, we recommend that it is bigger and wider than the inner container by a few inches, so that you can add leca, which is this clay pebble. And we've done many videos on this. This is a great aggregate to have at the bottom of your drainage container, your outer decorative container, because this stuff will absorb water and then evaporate it out, and that helps add moisture, because this plant does like a little bit more moisture. So we've been doing this as a cool plant hack for years now, and our plants love it. So you just sort of place your new grow container inside the decorative container, and then you want to add your potting mix for this plant. The potting mix that we recommend is a blend, and it's going to be, we recommend this ratio, 80% indoor potting mix. We like the Miracle Grow brand. You want to add 10% worm castings to that and 10% perlite, and then mix it all together, and you'll form this really well drained loamy mix. These plants like to drain well, so you don't want to have too thick of a soil so that the roots have struggled to try to get that oxygen exchange. In conjunction with that, we recommend you can add a little bit of rooting hormone. It's not necessary because this is a tough plant to put in and around the plant as we put her in the final spot, and we'll show you this in a second. And also a mycorrhizal. We like the Bigfoot brand here. This is a great fungal additive that helps the plant absorb nutrients, and it creates this wonderful food web inside the soil. And you only need a little bit. You only need like a quarter teaspoon. This is an eighth, so we'll do two scoops of that. And you put that around where the rooting hormone and the cutting goes in the soil, and you just set it and forget it. You don't set it and forget it, but you just set it in there, water it in, and then that stuff starts to work with the soil below and form a healthy growing medium. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take this potting mix that we pre-prepared. We're going to fill up the container, the grow container with it. I'm going to tamp it down a little bit. You can add water to it as you are adding this potting mix. It's not necessary. It's best, you can do it all at the end. Just add some water because you want to get rid of any air pockets. That plants roots like air exchange, but they don't necessarily like these big air pockets because that can create some problems with the plant growing, the roots. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more to get a little higher up here. It's starting to look really good. Add a little bit of water. Now I'm going to let it settle in a little bit and tamp it down so we get nice and level. And then, yeah, that looks pretty good. Then, depending on how big your segment of the stem and roots are, you're going to create a divot in the center, if you can, or somewhere thereabouts on in your potting mix here, to place this rooted stem into. So I'm going to open that up for you here, and then tip it so you can kind of see right there. And that's where we're going to be placing her. Let me show you like this. Let's get her in the right angle I want to go with. So it's going to go like that. And at this juncture, this is where we're going to, I'm going to set her on her side here a little bit. Let me just set her here for a second. At this juncture is where we're going to grab the mycorrhizal and place it in that same divoted area. So you only need a little bit goes a long way. And it almost looks like a mixture of like salt and pepper, this brand, but it's great stuff. And you just sort of add it all in that little pocket, that little hole area. And there we have it. We've added it in there. So on top of that, we're going to add the rooting hormone. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that after I put her in there and stake her, and I'm going to add it on top of and around her. Well, actually, you know what? You could do this too. One way around this is I like to just tap it in there. I want to put this in on top of the mycorrhizal, the Bigfoot, and the roots will sit on top. Some of the roots will sit on that, and the top roots I'm going to cover after we put it in there. So you can see that white little piece of rooting hormone sitting there with the mycorrhizal in that little divot. Now we take our baby here, place her in there. She's looking so cute. Get some more soil. Cover. Oh, sorry. I just mentioned I was going to add some more rooting hormone. Michael. Now you add another little bit of rooting hormone on top. So you have it on top and bottom. Forms this little dusting. Kind of almost looks like flour, like cooking flour. And then you add some soil on top of that to fill in the divot. Whoops. That's some good soil there. Oh. Now, one thing we recommend is that this plant isn't going to hold herself up well because she's not rooted. So you want a little stake to hold her in. So hold her upright so she doesn't tip over. Now what I'm doing now is just watering well to let all this soak in. And you want to not pour a ton of water on top of the divoted area, because that could push the root hormone away. And you want that root hormone in and around where the root, the plant root segments are, or the stem is, to encourage the plant to start putting out new roots. Now again, it's not necessary to do it with this plant because she is so tough. You don't have to do the rooting hormone. You don't even have to do the mycorrhizal, but this is a good thing to do in general, because this goes on and on and on in time. So when you're fertilizing your plant in the future, the mycorrhizal forms this wonderful food web in your soil to allow the plant roots to uptake those nutrients and do well. And folks, we just did it. Thank you all. We just did it. Look at her. So happy. And in time, she's going to grow just like the other ones I showed you. The one we got from Mom over here. Oh, and because it's the friendship plant, this is a great plant you can propagate and give to your friends, like with the holidays or Christmas time, and give them, if you have a friend or a family member you love, or someone that you care about, you can give them this plant. It's a really hardy house plant, and it's so cool and exotic looking. So what we'll do now is, we're going to summarize all this for you in written propagation instructions. So you can take a screenshot, so you can get all this summarized in a written fashion, and then you can just hold on to it, that screenshot to use when you want to go and propagate your friendship plant, aka UFO plant, aka money plant. Okay, so let's go on to that step, and then we'll come back and do a quick summary at the end. We hope this Pilea propagation video was helpful to you. But if you have any thoughts or questions, just leave them in the comment section below, and we'll make sure we get back to you. And until the next video, bye. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.